Hi, this is Amara, your spiritual tour guide. I wanted to share a miracle question with you that I just love this question. So I wanted to come on and talk about it. So one of the people in my Passport to Prosperity program sent me this question, and it's just such a great question. So what they wrote was, I need a tire and front brakes. Is there a method for rapid manifesting? So this is such a great question. Because it really gets to the heart of what we all want, right? We are wanting whatever it is right now. And there's sort of an urgency, right? There's an urgency to this question because the person's like, oh my gosh, my car's not safe. That's kind of the underlying fear to the question. You can kind of hear it under the question. You know, I'm desperate. I need these things to be safe and to be able to drive my car. So there are a couple of, I got my little buddy here, Arrow. So there are a couple of things that are going on here. So first of all, the idea that you're not safe. So could the car have a tire blowout? Could it lose its brakes while you're driving? So we all think that that is possible, right? That those are things that have happened in the past to various people, maybe not us, but they've happened. So it's in the realm of possibility, and we're sort of believing that, right? So the first thing I want to say is you're completely safe. Just because the car seems like there's a sign that something bad is going to happen, you're what-ifing the bad thing. Now, that doesn't mean you're making the bad thing happen. And also doesn't mean you're preventing the bad thing from happening. It's irrelevant. The bad thing may or may not happen. We don't know. It could happen any day, whether we know about, bad brakes or bad tires or not, right? You could have a blowout for absolutely no reason that you're not expecting. So bad things could happen all the time, every day. And we still leave our house. Most of us leave our house and still go out and assume that bad things are not going to happen. So I'm going to invite you to assume that bad things are not going to happen. Not saying don't get your brakes and your tire fixed. Clearly that's worthy of doing. But the idea that we have to do that urgently comes from our fear. So the story I want to tell around this is that is the miracle of Hanukkah. So the miracle of Hanukkah is that for those of you who don't know the story, they cleaned out the temple. They're getting ready to reestablish Jewish practice in the temple. They've removed all the Roman idols and whatever, and are reclaiming the temple. And they discovered there's only enough oil left for the eternal flame for one day. And it takes 8 days to make the oil so that they can burn the oil, right? So they light the eternal flame, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, we need to be able to make this oil quickly, but you can't make oil anymore, the sacred oil, any more quickly than you can make it. So the 8 days go by, and every day the flame of the oil stays lit, and they are able to make the oil for the menorah, for the eternal flame, before it burns out. So that's the miracle of Hanukkah, for those of you who don't know. And it's a miracle of timing, right? They are worried that the oil is going to disappear before they can get new oil. And that's really what's happening with this car story, right? We're worried that something bad is going to happen, that we're going to have a blowout, or the tires or the brakes aren't going to work before we have time to fix it. So we're now in the realm of miracle. So the miracle that we want to have happen in this story is that there's enough money and there's enough time to get the tire and the brakes fixed. So now we're in the situation of talking about the holy instant, or right timing. So right timing is not necessarily up to us. We think we can control the timing, that we're going, like right now, we have to get this done right now. And that's not necessarily true. Reference the Hanukkah story. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, we don't know. So the universe is a strangely accommodating and an abundant place. So when we start trusting that the universe is helping us with the timing, we don't have to be so afraid about walking outside our house and doing what we're doing, because we usually, honestly, go out of our house assuming everything's going to be all right, or we would never leave our house, right? We would just stay inside. And there are people who do that, but it's not really totally healthy to not be able to go outside and interact with people. So in another story, a friend of mine wanted to buy a new car, and they were trying to get the money together to buy the car, and they had a sense of urgency about it. They wanted to buy the car. So they were asking people for money. They were, like being very frantic about it, and ended up, borrowing money from their grandmother and wanted to get the car bought by a certain date. And that's their timing. That's not divine timing. Divine timing is that the money will come to you when it's time to get the car. So what happened, and this isn't necessarily what's going to happen if you don't follow universal timing, there's no need to be afraid, but what ended up happening was that they bought the car and a week later they totaled the car. So what the story is with this is that if sometimes the universe will put roadblocks in your way to prevent you from making a mistake. So it's okay to listen to the universe's sense of timing rather than trying to impart our own, because time isn't really an issue of spirit. You can have things immediately, or you can have them over a long period of time, and they are the same. And then the last part of this question that I love so much is, how do you manifest quickly? So this is part of the whole divine timing thing, right? So how do you manifest quickly? Well, if you're in a situation where you get into the belief that you need the thing quickly, that it has to happen right now, which I'm telling you it doesn't, but if you are in that situation, and you're believing that situation into being, because that's how particles and waves work. We believe, we are in a place of possibility until we make a decision, and then we are in a place of matter. To dumb down quantum physics into a sentence. Anyway, so this story happened to me. I was on the Jersey Shore, Mantoloking to be specific, in the winter. There's nobody around because the Jersey Shore is very quiet in the winter. People go there in the summer when they want to go to the beach, but in the winter it's not as many people. Things aren't necessarily open. And so I was working for a client, and for one reason or another, I couldn't go back into her house when I came out, and my car had a flat tire, so I couldn't go anywhere. I did have a donut. I tried to change my tire. I wasn't strong enough. I have changed tires, but I put the lug wrench on the tire, and I was jumping up and down on the lug wrench, and I couldn't get any of the nuts to unscrew. So lugs, I guess, is that what they're called? Lugs? Anyway, so I was standing there. I was like, okay, well, I have road service with my insurance. I'm going to call up my insurance and get them to send the road service. Well, that was a misunderstanding on my part. What I had was, they'll pay for the road service, but they won't arrange for the road service. I didn't have AAA. I tried to get AAA. I couldn't, I had to wait a day. It just wasn't working out. So I was like, all right. And I'm standing there, and there's no one around. I'm in this giant parking lot, no cars. There's no cars on the road, except that I noticed a pickup truck drive by a few times, same pickup truck. So I'm standing there and I'm thinking, okay, this is not my reality. My reality is that people help me. It's my superpower. people come and help me when I need help. So I am going to assume that somebody is going to stop and help me with my tire. And my tire, the flat tire was not close to the road, so you could only see it if you came into the parking lot. So I'm just a person standing by my car. But lo and behold, after I think this, the blue pickup truck pulls into the parking lot, and a young guy in his early 20s gets out and says, "Hey, you having a problem?" And I said, "Well, my tire is flat and I don't seem to be able to change it." And he's like, "Oh, no problem." And he whips out the donut, unscrews the thing, puts it back on, and then gives me directions to where there is actually a place close by that's open that can deal with putting a new tire on, because I can't drive all the way home, which is like over 150 miles on, the donut. So that story is how you manifest quickly. You align yourself with a different truth. So the truth that I had been with was nobody's there to help me. I can't figure out a way to get my tire fixed. I have a problem. And I chose to align myself with a different story, which was, it's my superpower. People help me. I am absolutely going to get my tire fixed. Someone's going to stop and help me. So that's how you get a quick miracle. So I hope this is helpful. I love you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like.